This, my friends, is the XRound Aero. And you're probably like, XRound what? Who? Yeah, I don't blame you if you've never heard of him. I didn't either up until like a few weeks ago, to be honest. And just so you know, usually when a company like XRound contacts me and says, hey man, you want to check out this new product? I don't say yes for the sake of free stuff or just to say yes. For me, it has to A, not be sus, B, it has to stand out for better or for worse, and C, is something you, my viewers, would find interesting. So what does the Aero bring to the table then? Well, it promises great sound, low latency gaming, affordable price, and hybrid touch controls, among other things. So seems like all these things meet criteria A and B. As for criteria C, you're gonna have to watch this video and decide for yourself. So let's do it after these messages, and don't forget to subscribe and like, yes, that way. Alright, let's get into the specs of the Aero as we check it out up close. So this earbud usually retails for 90 bucks, but as far as I know, from now until September 13, you can get this for a low 65 bucks. I'll link it down below. That's not bad. There's Bluetooth 5.0 on board with AAC and SBC support. There's no aptX here, and there's also IP54 dust and water resistance, so it's fine for light workouts. Now, if you look at the case, there is USB-C charging up at the back here, but there's no wireless charging, unfortunately, even though this is a really nice flat surface to do it on. The build quality is not bad. I can squeeze this and then there's no creaks from the hinge or whatsoever. Materials though, listen to this. That's kind of hollow and also kind of slippery to the touch, especially when it gets sweaty or greasy or anything like that. So something to take note of. And it kind of looks like though a piece of brownie, doesn't it? Or a spare camera battery or something. But anyways, the earbuds are pretty similar to in terms of material choices. Kind of slippery, but at least you have the stem here to better grab onto to remove the bud. So ergonomically, it is fine. Now the cavity for the earbuds itself has shiny plastic, so it will show scratches and dirt more easily, but at least it's easy to clean. You just do a quick swipe with a Q-tip and you're done. Now there's one function button right here and it does only one thing. It repairs your earbuds with another device. And by the way, there's no multi-point Bluetooth connection here. And at the front here, there are 4 LEDs. You can't see here, but 4 LEDs, battery indicators, which personally is easier to mentally decipher than just 3, you know, in quarters rather than thirds. Yeah, you know how it works. But since we're here, let's do the shake test. I have to keep the lid open, pop the earbud back in, and let's see how strong the magnets are. Oh yeah, nice and solid. Thumbs up for that, man. As I kind of alluded to a few seconds ago, the earbuds share the same material and build approach as the case. So that means same plastics, same slippery surface. At least you can hold on to the stem here. But in terms of overall build quality, I think the earbuds can be improved a little bit because on a couple of spots on both the left and right side, if you look at the seam right there where my fingertip is, that little blemish, that's exposed glue. So XRound, if you're watching this, ask your QC to check it, please. Each of these earbuds weigh 4.2 grams, very light, very comfortable in the ear. And here's an interesting quirk. The side panel right here, you see these little slashes right there? It kind of reminds me of a Bluetooth logo flipped on its side, on it. Unless I'm dreaming things. And by the way, you can use these things in mono mode. That means you can share this with a friend or charge one and use the other just to save battery life. There's 2 mics per side too that handles phone calls, one right here and one right behind the mesh grill. And I'm not sure if this also does a venting. Maybe XRound can confirm this. And you've probably seen this too. The LED light flashes in this really nicely hidden panel. That's part of the design slash right there. It's not too bright, so the person sitting next to you won't be irritated by it. Now, in the business end of things, there's a 6mm titanium coated driver doing all the grunt work that ports sound to this decently short sound channel. And it's also covered by this mesh grill. In terms of ear tips, it's decently easy to pop on and off. They're not the fastest. And the ear tips are very comfortable as well. Not the softest. So I don't think most of y'all need to replace it. But if you want to, you can. But it's nice and decent. And also, XRound provides 6 different pairs. 3 different isolation ear tips and 3 spin fits. That's really generous if you ask me at this price range. Now, in terms of controls, there's touch controls as well as swipe gestures. So for touch, it accepts double, triple, as well as hold commands. And for sliding gestures, you get volume controls depending on the left or right side for volume and track forward, backward. Now, what makes the Aero truly unique is that you can switch between music and low latency mode for gaming or movie watching. Yes, you heard that right. And this can be activated on the fly with the right earbud, with a tap, or with the XRound MyTune app. And here's a look at it. And regardless of whether you're in music or low latency mode, you can choose 2 different sound processing modes as well on top of that. So by default, the XRound Lite is on at level 2, which means you let the XRound's algorithm do its thing. Or if you choose to turn it off, you get a 7-band EQ. That's really generous, with multiple presets and a couple of custom spots just for yourself. And here's a cool quirk, guys. You can share your your settings with your friends and family. I've never seen this done before, and that's really nice and makes it super easy. It just builds a QR code, you scan it, and you're done. And by the way, you can also customize your controls up to a point here on this screen. Battery life, let's talk about that. It's kind of dependent on what mode you're in, obviously. In music mode, I got about 6.25 hours at 65% volume, and that actually beats the factory rated time by 15 minutes, which was tested at 50% volume. Now, if you use the buds in low latency mode, it's a little bit more taxing on the unit, and it still comes around though at 5.9 hours.
Have you guys listened to this? The 2009 remastered version of Heart of Gold by Neil Young. It's pretty darn awesome. It's nice and clear and everything. But anyways, I have the song playing on Deezer right here. I'm going to put the phone at the end of my deck, and I'm going to take the Aero past the back of my house towards the side, and I'll take you along too, guys. And we'll see when these Bluetooth 5.0 equipped earbuds start to disconnect. They should last around 30 to 33 feet. But where... Oh, hold on. Where I'm standing right here is around 25 feet, and I'm already getting some bugging out by the earbuds. So, yeah, I'm going to call it. It's stopping at 25 feet. It's kind of close to the 30 to 33 feet mark, but that makes a slight difference, you know, so you can do the math there. How you guys doing, by the way? It's a nice day out, but I'm going to keep walking, taking these earbuds past, you know, right now the music is not even playing anymore, and we're going to see if we get a disconnect tone and how far that is. So far, there's nothing. I think it's already disconnected because it's like dead quiet, not even any kind of sound. So I'm gonna keep walking back, and we're gonna cut back and see if these things reconnect. And there you go, right at the 22-foot mark, it reconnected again. And so it didn't tell me when it disconnected, so that's a thumbs down on that part. And it doesn't continue playing the media, which is no big deal at all. Most earbuds don't do that. You just have to tap it and start playing it again. So anyways, let's move on to the mic test on these things. I'm kind of curious how these things perform. All right, we're heading down to the road right now to get some sound samples to see how these things do with noise suppression in particular. I tested these earlier, and I'll tell you what, in a quiet environment, right now there's no traffic, so this might be a good estimation. If you hear this, you can hear my voice is really clear, right? It's not bad. I can raise my voice, and the mics handle it pretty good. So I'd say the mic quality is pretty darn decent. Here comes some traffic. I'm gonna keep talking, and you can hear for yourselves when constant sounds like engine and tire noises come through. These things kind of struggle a little bit. I would say it's pretty darn average. So it's very usable if you're running or taking your dog by the roadside on a walk or something. That's fine. But these are really awesome if you're doing private Zoom calls or phone calls at home or something in a quiet environment. They sound really nice. You can hear this again. Nice big truck coming through. How does that sound? Yeah, not bad. Anyways, let's move on back to the studio.
In terms of sound quality, the Aeros are kind of a mixed bag. For the most part, they're good, but straight out of the box with the default flat profile setting, it doesn't sound great at all, which is kind of a shame. But things do wake up whenever you play with the EQ, but I'm guessing most of us don't want to deal with that. So I recommend that you either turn on the XRound Light surround sound system, which I recommend level 1, level 2 kind of overdoes it, or better yet, fire up the Taylor ID EQ setting, where it will test your hearing and set you up with the best listening experience. I found that was the best results, at least for me. Now, the 6mm drivers on these, while they're small, are very capable in the mid and high end of the spectrum, but the Aeros really suffer in the bass. That's his biggest weakness, because I think that whatever your listening preference is, whatever profile you set up, I'm guessing you'll be pumping up the bass frequencies here and there just to balance the sound out. Now, in case you're interested, I found an EQ setting looking like a gentle W works pretty good for most genres. This is hands down one of the coolest packagings ever. Look what happens when I slide the sleeve across like this. I hope you can see this on the camera. It's a freaking moving sound wave. Yes, kudos to the designer for doing this. So genius. For some reason, I find the design, especially on the earbuds, too angular and plain for my liking. And the materials and build too could also be better for the price. Or maybe some color options would have been nice to break up this monotony of black and dark gray, because this color is all we get. Another problem that I found is there's something about the balance or fit that causes these earbuds to gradually loosen in my ear canal, requiring me to readjust them more often than I would prefer. So these are definitely not good for earbuds in that aspect. I've tried different ear tips to no avail. Well, color me impressed. The XRound Aero has solid audio bones, I'll tell you what. The tuning and the processing is pretty much on point, especially when you turn on the XRound Lite or play with the Taylor ID or EQ. Once you set things up, this thing really sings. And it's also really hard to quantify this, but the earbuds feel snappy to me. From the powering on process, to pairing, to the controls, to how quickly the earbuds switch between each other in mono mode, it's pretty fast. And I'm also digging the innovation here and just trying to stand out. And being wallet friendly also doesn't hurt either. I definitely say you should check these out. The links are down below. The only major downers I can think of are the low quality materials and design that's a little bit past its prime, the lack of power in the base, and also the lack of brand recognition, which is really why I'm doing this, to help expand our minds of the options out there, as well as support smaller businesses. So with all that said, I want to give the XRound Aero a GearUP score of 7.7 out of 10. And this is how I broke it down to get the final score. If you have any questions about it, feel free to comment down below. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel. Mash and kill that button down below and turn on the bell notification icon, and that way you'll get notified whenever new videos come in. Also, visit my Patreon page down here where you can buy me a cup of coffee or tea or something and leave me a tip and help support me financially. That'll be super awesome, and get your name shouted out right here, among other things. Remember to thumbs up if you like this video and comment nicely down below. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you in the next one. I love y'all. Peace out and God bless.